Hello and welcome to Heart Talk, coming to you live every Monday, 10 p.m. from HeartKnocks Training Center in Malaysia. My name is Danush, I'm your host, and as the name suggests, Heart Talk is about authenticity. We're offering you a glimpse into our curriculum for full living and what it truly means to love, lead, and live fully. Right? Feel free to say hi and drop comments in or your questions into the comment section, and we'll get back to you. Tonight we have Jeff again. Yep. Yay!
Good to be here.
And tonight we're going to be talking a little bit more about mastery and the master's course, because author of the master's course.
Yeah.
So we had Jeff do a master's course earlier in April, in 2025 this year. So kind of wanted to get a pick of his brain, off your brain, and how it came to be, and value of a master's course and things like that.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Just a reference in the previous episode, Jeff, for those of you who haven't watched that, Jeff has been in this line for 50 years now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Long time. Long time.
So Jeff, tell me a little bit about how you came to come up with
Mastery.
Yeah.
So we originally called it the master's course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tend to call it that so much now. I call it mastery. And I don't know if it's that valid, but I kind of thought the master's course kind of said something about me, like who is creating it, and that's not what the purpose is. So to me, the purpose is about mastery. How do you, the process of mastering life, what that is. So that's why I tend to call it mastery now more than master's course, but I created it 40 years ago, so it's out there all around. There's lots of people that do what we call the master's course, and so, but just for I'd like to just set that straight. It's about mastery.
And I understand that, because sometimes our graduates think of it from a perspective of, the master's course, I'm going to become a master after I complete this training.
Yeah.
And automatically it's not about like you come out the 4 days and you're automatically a master. It's about what?
Yeah. Yep. It's a process. It's a process. And the interesting thing is when we first created it, and when I say I created it, I don't want to take like I'm the only one. It actually I was kind of the leader of it, and through the process of talking with other trainers at the time, other doctors in philosophy, in psychology, I researched a lot of things, and so it's more a collaboration, and but the end product was really my, it's kind of what I gathered. But the original purpose of it was when we were doing these transformational trainings in the U.S., we were at a stage where we wanted to elevate the trainers and the staff, and we also invited key graduates that have been participating in the center, whether it's in New York, LA, San Francisco, wherever it was. So we wanted to have a program that would kind of raise the awareness or consciousness, because one of the philosophies in mastery is that you can only go to where you're coming from, which is a really challenging statement, but it means that if we want to go someplace, we actually got to be in the consciousness that would get us there. Another way of Albert Einstein a statement he used to say is that you can't solve the problem at the level of consciousness that created the problem. So whatever issue we have in life, the only way we're going to resolve it is that if we elevate our awareness or consciousness so that we can solve it. Because the consciousness created the issue, we've got to get to another level. So that's what mastery was designed for, is how to raise our level of consciousness and awareness. And so that was the intention of it. And I think a key thing in this is that we talk about two things that are very significant, which is context and content. And, content is all the things. So the content of our life is our relationships and our jobs and our money and our health and all of those things. That's content. And most people are kind of stuck on, how do I change the content? How do I have something be different here? And what we do in Mastery is have you become aware of what is the context. In other words, what is giving rise to that, whatever you have. How is it being created? How is it being developed? And if you don't become aware of that, you're not really going to do anything. It's we're just going to rearrange things in life instead of create something new. So mastery is about really getting to what is the context of our life, what's generating it.
How? Because it sounds, what you're telling me is also, it sounds very similar to the first level trainings, the discovery that we do here. It's very similar in that, like what I'm hearing at least, it sounds very similar. It's like we're taking a look at where I'm coming from, and that tends to happen sometimes happens a lot in discovery training as well.
Yep.
So how is it different?
Well, I think the big difference is that people that do mastery have usually already done the first, second level, third level, so they understand it at a completely different way. So how people interpret it in the first level is not the same as what mastery is. So one of the things we start to make distinct is everyone is born into a certain context. There's a certain mindset. And this is true for all of us as human beings. As human beings, we're born into a certain mindset, and we call that survival.
Right.
So most of us are going through life, whether we know it or not, whether we're conscious of this or not. Our whole purpose is to kind of survive, is to figure out and make it and get by, and some people do a better job than others, but it's still all about surviving. And the key thing is that survival, what it really means is don't die.
Right.
So in a way, people are living their life to not die. And I don't mean just physically. I mean emotionally. It's like, I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to look stupid. I don't, those are survival kinds of issues emotionally. So in mastery is about a shift in mindset, a fundamental shift in where you come from as a human being. That as opposed to being in survival, that you can actually be in, we're calling that mastery. And mastery is a state of being that is distinct from surviving.
So when someone is, on that path, or I would say path to mastery, right? What becomes possible? What shifts? What changes?
Everything.
Right.
No, No.
Well, maybe experience. Like I get it that everything becomes possible. I get it.
Yeah.
But what changes about an individual's experience, of life?
Yeah. Well, I think a key thing is we become much more at peace, and that, just think of the word survival, and think of what is the experience of survival. It's based in fear, and many of us, as we go through life, we're not even conscious of how much fear we are living in.
Right.
And I don't mean this as to be scary. I mean it like it can be subtle. I'm afraid of what people think of me. I'm afraid of how I look. I'm afraid of not being loved. I'm afraid of not being good enough. So if you think of living your life from that place, how draining that is in our energy, how it limits us, that we tend not to reach out, we tend not to risk, because we want to be safe, we want to survive. So what happens when people get this, experience this transformation, this movement to, it's really about, operating from a fundamental state of love. There's two internal states, fear or love. And mastery is tapping into this internal state of love of ourself, love of life, love of, people around us, to see that we're not, you're not somebody I should be afraid of. I can actually connect with you. We can be in relationship. But if I'm in fear, that tends not to happen. So, and if we look around at the world, we see a lot of the world living in this internal state of fear. And fear has people do crazy things, and love has people, build, whereas fear has people destroy. So that's the purpose of mastery, in my view, is to move to an internal state of love and connection, oneness. Also, the fundamental belief that we have in this state of fear is scarcity. So we live in a mindset of scarcity, that there's not enough. And there is enough. There's enough. There's everybody. There's enough time. There's enough money. There's enough of everything. But it's not that there isn't enough, it's that our mindset is we're afraid there's not enough. So what would happen? Think of what would happen if you had that shift and you let go of that survival mindset, and you could tap into this internal state of love and abundance. And what that creates is freedom, joy, aliveness. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is mastery.
Because I'm just thinking, what if? That question itself is having me think of what would happen from me, right? Like if that shift, when that shift were to happen, and the experience, like you said, is very freeing. It's like a
it is a little bit like that. Just relaxing into life. Yeah, right. Relaxing into life. Yeah,
because that feels very relieving at the same time. Like I don't have to fight for a lot of things. It's like if I just came from a place of there is enough.
Yeah. Well, I talk about it a lot about being in the flow. You know, there's a life force energy that we can tap into, and we can get in the flow in life. And when we're in the flow, you know, things seem more at ease, and they just, you know, evolve and move, and there's movement. Versus when we're in fear, we're stuck. You know, things don't flow as well. So, the one thing you mentioned about, you know, when you shift to that place, it's not just you're there or you're not. It's you're always moving there. So for me, it's like mastery. The reason I say mastery is that I'm always mastering. I never. It's not a place I get to.
Right.
It's a place that I come from. And so, you know, so in my life, I feel my life has become, you know, more at ease, more flow, more, you know, in a state of love, and, you know, have very positive experiences in life. You know, so the times of struggle have disappeared more than more. And I think that's the invitation for people and come to mastery is, you know, to have that happen in their life. And once it starts, you know, you got to keep it going, because, you know, transformation is not, it happens and that's it. You can always go back. You can always, you know, I read a book, Sapiens, which is really about evolution of human beings and on this planet over hundreds of thousands of years. And the one thing that hit me in the book that I don't know why I never thought about it, but it was like they talked about evolution, and I've always had the idea evolution is, okay, we're getting better, you know, we're evolving, getting better all the time.
Right.
But evolution can be the other way.
Yeah.
You can evolve or devolve.
Yeah.
You can,
yeah.
You know, so it's not a guarantee that things just get better and better and better and better. It's, you know, it requires your rigorousness to stay engaged in life and see how you can master life. And so it's an evolution, but, you know, it can go one way or another. It's up to us, you know. And that's the other, I think, key thing about mastery is it's learning the power of choice. You know, how you can really choose in life. So.
You guys heard that? Better have heard that. Yeah, so I'm having a few key takeaways. You know, one really about, you know, how you're saying mastery is a place I come from.
Yeah.
You know, because then that shifts. It's for those graduates who know, on our box that you sometimes get, transformation is a journey, not a destination. It's something that we have on one of our boxes.
Perfect.
And this kind of reminds me of that. Yeah. And mastery being something that was designed for initially for staff of centers, trainers to elevate them, and then you know, kind of evolve to something that we have now.
Right.
I think actually it's been very insightful for me. I've done it like 3 times, and each time it's something different for me.
Right.
So yeah, for all the graduates, I invite you to take a look at the schedule. You know, talk to one of the staff here at HeartKnocks to kind of take a look at what's next. You know, when's the next one? I invite you to sign up, because great stuff, really, really great stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
yeah.
Jeff.
Enjoyed being with you in mastery. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Jeff, for giving us a little bit of what MC's mastery is about. Yeah. So looking forward to see you graduates here at the next master's course. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Heart Talk. We'll see you next time for the next episode. And until then, remember, let your heart do the talking. Good night.